Why anxiety isn't the enemy, it's the messenger. I'm going to talk about this today and hear me out on this perspective of how I've worked through anxiety and how it's led me to a different insight and way of seeing life. Welcome back to the Self-Esteem and Confidence Mindset podcast. Now, I want to be really clear before we sort of kick things off today, because I know this episode is going to get some controversy and people are going to have different opinions. And again, I'm just sharing my perspective of what I've gone through and talking to people who are very smart in the personal growth space, the healing space, and got actual results, and then other people who've transformed their results. But I want to be clear, there are obviously people who do need medication for anxiety. It is a real thing. And I don't want to dismiss that. That is very true. I've been on medication, but I didn't need it. But there are people who do need medication. And what I want to be really clear is please do go see, obviously, a professional, a medical professional if you need to, in the cases of this, right? This is just a perspective because often people can identify with it when they don't need to, and I've been one of those people. So I really want to share a message on this, because what I want to do is just empower you to feel good and peaceful about yourself, right? And feel good about life. I don't want you in a state of anxiety. This is me coming from my heart and really sharing this with you today, right? Because the more we hang on to something like, I am depressed, I am overwhelmed, I am confused, I am stupid, I'm overweight, I am fat, I've got this. The more you hold on to these labels, you become those things you identify with. So I'm giving a perspective today that, yeah, mate, I'm not saying you didn't experience anxiety, right? It is a real thing, but it's something not to identify with. And I really want to give a perspective today on working through it. Would you rather identify with it, or would you rather move through it? And again, if you've got serious anxiety, being very clear again, do get a professional to support you, okay? I've talked about anxiety before, and people are like, this is terrible advice. And I was like, well, it's just guidance from my own experience. And if you don't like it, don't have to listen, right? That's just me, right? So I just want to share a perspective today, right? And everything's this is subjective anyway. But if you call to listen on, please do. Lots people like to hang on to the victim label of I went through this, so therefore I have this. I was born with this, so therefore that's my life. Because it takes away, this is where people are going to like it, but I'm going to say it because it works through my being nice tendencies. This is where it takes away personal responsibility in a lot of cases. Again, in some cases, someone's had something terrible happen to them and they can't do a certain thing, right? But often people like to jump on oh, I've got this, I've got that. I'm going to call this one out as well. People claim they've got serious concentration issues, right? And that is a real thing for people. I've worked with many kids with ADHD and stuff like that, and it's a real thing. But people like to say, I struggle with this, I struggle with that. And, actually it's a label we put to ourselves. I've done that as well. I'm I struggle with this, I struggle with that, until I stopped identifying with things. So ask yourself, if you're identifying with anxiety too much, is that because it keeps you safe and it takes away responsibility on going into the unknown and dealing with it? It's up to you. Only you truly know, right? But by identifying with something that doesn't serve you, it's going to keep not serving you and staying with you. That's what I'm saying, right? But there are real things, there are real conditions out there. I know someone with borderline personality disorder, and that's a real thing, right? But yeah, just be very mindful about what you're labeling yourself with. That would be my first point, right? But things like anxiety, feeling down, when I've sat with it and I've had to really sit with some of these things, right? And sometimes I may experience this from day to day, but I am not them. But what it's telling me, it's showing me a message something's off. I need to change something with anxiety often. When I'm down or feeling sad, it's something's not aligning in life right now, right? Or I need to either work on myself or the situation's not right. Maybe I'll remove myself from that. Like recently, I went into like this ideal situation for me in this business opportunity, and I was like, this is great. And I was like, when I started it, I was just like dreading it, and I just didn't feel right. And I was anxious, and I was like, this isn't right for me. So I sat with it and I removed myself from it, and there's no hard feelings at all. Beautiful person I was working with, amazing, and they're so successful in business. But it just wasn't right for me at this time, right? It just wasn't like sometimes things don't fit for people, right? And I listened to that anxiety because it was telling me something. So that's what I really want to talk about today. I've also seen, like, again, I'm very, what's the word? I'm very, I want to say cautious, but I don't really want to be super cautious. I like saying the truth, right? My truth. And I used to say generalistic things, but I'm just saying my truth. People can claim they've got claim sometimes got anxiety and things like that, and again, it's a real thing. But I've been on medication for anxiety, and actually, I just had a bad diet. I was drinking too much. I was looking at too much of the wrong information. I was thinking negatively about my situation at the time, and no wonder I had it. And guess what? I changed some of those things, and that made a big difference. The medication didn't do anything in that case. I'm not saying it doesn't do anything in anything, but I kept being anxious because I was doing all those things, right? But I've seen people say, like, I'm really, really anxious right now about this, this, and this. And they like spend most of their day on social media. You probably are going to feel anxious, right? If you're like looking at comparing and seeing all the things that are wrong. If you look at it in the news every day and you're like, I feel anxious, what a surprise. It's all about fear. It's all about the news isn't the news. The news is conditioning you for fear, so you get addicted to it, right? Again, like, just being honest on my truth, right? So if you'll just become very conscious of what you're doing, like, because when you become conscious of it, you take responsibility, and therefore you can change from that. Very yeah, a lot more passionate this episode than I expected to be, but it's very close to my heart because I've been in that place so many times. I'm like, I'm helpless to do this. Oh, I struggle with this. Oh, I'm all these kind of things. It just doesn't help, right? It's not to say, by the way, again, being very clear, that I don't sit with myself every single day and feel into these things. It's like, right, I do breathwork every single day. I'm like, okay, what am I feeling here? Okay, let's feel into that. Let's give myself permission to feel it. So that's not suppression. Do not suppress things, right? But I allow myself to feel. But at the same time, I'm very conscious of my habits and what I'm doing in life. If I'm feeling anxious, I look at that. What am I doing? Where does it not line up? So here are some points. Okay, number one, connect daily with the body and the mind. Give yourself some quiet time. I would suggest in the morning, because the more you can do that, the more you can become conscious of what's actually going on and therefore process it. And the more you can connect with yourself, the more you can listen to your messages, and the more you can take things that align to you and do things that are right for you. Number two, in the moment, don't write it up in the moment, but write it before the moment. If you get very anxious in the moment or uncomfortable about something, have a plan and make it very simple, like a 3-step one. My one is identify what's going on. Okay, I'm feeling this way, right? Okay, that's going on. Okay, then it's usually I'm going to feel into it. Okay, I'll allow it to move through the body. And then number 3, I finish with some breath work. So that regulates my nervous system and keeps me calm, right? And there's plenty, I would recommend somatic breathwork IQ if you're looking for some breath work as well. Okay, number 3, final point. Surround yourself with optimistic people. Sounds very simple, doesn't it? Or listen to optimistic people on like podcasts and things like that. But if you're surrounded with people who are like, oh, this is happening, it's not going to feel right. I'm going to say this, and I will not say which family member this is. I've got a whole range, right, and it's not one of my close like family, like parents or anything like that. But there's a member of my family who always and this isn't uncommon, always love her to bits, but always worries, always looking at what's going to go wrong. And funnily enough, I don't feel great listening to her too much. Love her with my heart, family member. But if you're surrounded with people like that all the time, how is your anxiety going to be? But if you hang out with people optimistic and see the good in life, actually what I found when I've been in negative states and like I'm not feeling great and I've hung out with like super high frequency, excited, grateful people who are really wealthy, like my negative energy won't even touch them, but I will be brought up to their level. Because like people in high frequency, excited with gratitude, feeling really good about life, like they don't get like brought down much unless they would constantly put themselves in a negative environment. So find yourself an opportunity to do that, because it's really going to make you see life differently. We adapt to our surroundings. So that's a really important point as well that I found has worked for me. For example, I was at Awaken in Anaheim recently, and I went to it in London. I was with optimistic, high frequency people, and I felt amazing. So that'd be my final point for you as well. So we talked about why anxiety isn't the enemy, it's a messenger. Again, like if you need professional support, do get it. And there are serious conditions that people have that they do need medication. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying it's a real thing. But if you're identifying with something and then you're also doing behaviors that don't support you, you just got to get very honest with yourself and have that conversation. So I'll leave it at that. And yeah, thank you for listening today. I appreciate you for tuning in. And remember to lead with your heart, not with fear.